He promoted her right in front of me. The girl who shows up late, leaves early, and spends half her day scrolling through Instagram. And everyone clapped. Even the HR guy who once told me I was management material looked away like he didn't know me. I just stood there, pretending it didn't crush me. If you've ever felt ignored, replaced, or betrayed, this story will hit you deep. Share this with someone who needs motivation. For the last 3 years, I worked like a machine. First to enter, last to leave. I fixed problems others created, trained new hires, stayed calm during crises. I even gave up weekends. Not once did I ask for credit. I thought my work would speak for itself. But clearly, in this company, volume matters more than value. She walked up to accept the promotion with that smug little smile. Her eyes flicked toward me like she knew this would burn. And it did. People congratulated her, talked about fresh ideas, and new energy. They acted like I was invisible. Not one person asked how I felt. Not even my boss, Daniel, who once told me, "You're the backbone of this department." Backbone? He didn't even look at me when announcing her name. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my tiny apartment, laptop open, eyes red. I read the email I'd written weeks ago, but never sent. It was meant for just in case. Turns out, this was the case. I smiled, added one final sentence that I knew would hit like a punch, and hit send. The next morning, the office was too quiet. I arrived at my usual time, 8 a.m. sharp. But instead of hearing coffee machines and keyboard taps, I heard whispers. Heads turned. My boss wasn't in his office. People stared at me like I'd grown horns. By 8:15, Daniel walked in. His face was pale. He avoided eye contact. He looked shaken. And I knew right then he'd read the last line. But before I tell you what I wrote, what would you say to the boss who crushed your dreams in front of the whole team? He didn't call me in. He didn't send a message. He just sat in his glass office, staring at his screen like he'd seen a ghost. And for the first time in 3 years, he didn't look in control. That email had done exactly what I intended. The last line I wrote, "By the time you finish reading this, the company's most valuable project will no longer belong to you." Because what he didn't know is that the app everyone thought was his idea, the one that attracted investors, boosted the company's reputation, and landed media features, was actually mine. When I joined the company, I was just a junior developer. But I had an idea, a real one. I pitched it to Daniel in a late-night meeting, showed him sketches, flows, strategy. He said it was interesting and told me to keep working on it. What he didn't say was that he'd quietly registered a prototype under his own name and began pitching it behind my back. But here's what I didn't say. I never stopped working on my own version. While they used my original code to build their flashy version, I was busy building something better, smarter, and patent protected. Every sleepless night they thought I was debugging for them. I was building for me. And 2 days before I hit send on that email, I filed everything legally. Ownership, copyrights, trademarks, even the source code. The moment Daniel read that line, he knew what he'd stolen, knew what he had just lost. And as the shock settled into his face, HR got the CC version of my email, too. That's when the real panic started. I walked past his office slowly. I wanted him to see me. He finally opened the door and said, "We need to talk." I leaned against the glass wall, smiled, and said, "I'm busy." Then I walked out of the office, not just for the day, but for good, because while they were mocking my silence, I was building an empire behind their backs. But this was just the beginning. Daniel wasn't going to go down without a fight, and I knew he was about to make a very desperate mistake. By noon, I started getting calls from unknown numbers. First, it was a legal team from the company. Then a private number I didn't answer. Then finally, Daniel himself messaged me. Let's talk. I think we can make a deal. A deal? Now he wanted to negotiate after publicly replacing me with someone who could barely code a login page? I didn't reply. He was already too late. But I knew Daniel. He wasn't the type to beg unless he had something up his sleeve. And I was right. That evening, a friend from the office, Sam, one of the only decent people there, sent me a voice note. His words chilled me. Bro, they're trying to flip this on you. Daniel's telling people you stole the company's IP and leaked client data. Legal's looking into filing a case. They wanted to crush me before I could fully rise, but they didn't know what I had next. The documents, the time-stamped emails, the Slack messages where Daniel clearly said, "Your app idea." I'd saved everything. Every comment, every stolen suggestion, every line of code he claimed was his. But that wasn't all. The real blow was sitting in a flash drive inside my pocket, a video clip I had recorded 6 months ago during a Zoom meeting. Daniel had accidentally shared his screen and opened a folder named Final Pitch. My app name? Media Pack. He fumbled to hide it, but I recorded it in real time. That one clip was proof he was preparing to pitch my product as his own, long before they ever gave me credit. And now I had something even stronger than revenge, leverage. Instead of replying to Daniel, I sent the clip anonymously to 3 investors the company had recently announced partnerships with, people who had invested millions based on Daniel's vision. Within hours, everything exploded. The investors pulled out. Their LinkedIn announcement was deleted. And Daniel? He called again. This time his voice was shaking. Please, just talk to me. I'm sure we can fix this. But there was nothing left to fix. I wasn't just walking away. I was going to own everything he built on my back. But then, something happened that even I didn't see coming. Something from my past. Someone I trusted once had just betrayed me all over again. I stared at my screen in disbelief. An email had just landed in my inbox, one that made my stomach twist. Subject, cease and desist. Intellectual property violation. From Ava Williams, Legal Counsel, Bright Path Innovations. Bright Path was my new company, the one I quietly registered, built, and protected, the one with my app, my name, and my future. But Ava, she was supposed to be my partner, my closest friend, the only person I trusted with back-end access, legal filings, and the entire structure. We'd sat in my living room for hours building this thing from scratch. She knew every line of code, every plan, every fallback. And now, she was threatening me. I called her immediately. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. 10 minutes later, I got a message. Sorry, it's just business. You'll understand one day. She had flipped, sold out, sided with Daniel. Or worse, decided to take the entire thing for herself. And suddenly, everything I'd built was under attack from both sides. I felt sick. I wanted to smash something, scream, but I didn't. Instead, I opened the encrypted folder I had hidden away, a backup I never thought I'd need. It contained the original prototype, early brainstorming videos, with both our faces, discussing features and structures, and most importantly, a screen recording from 2 months ago. In it, Ava was logged into our legal filing portal, talking about, "We'll use your name, just to keep it clean legally." That one word, your, was now my weapon. But I needed more. I started digging through old chats, call logs, emails. Patterns emerged. Bank transfers. Private meetings Ava had with Daniel's legal team. She'd been playing both sides for weeks. Suddenly, this wasn't about a company anymore. It was war. And now I had 2 enemies. One tried to steal my work. The other pretended to help me build it, just so she could take it all. But if they thought I'd go down quietly, they didn't know me at all, because I had one final move they'd never expect, something that would ruin both of them, live and on camera. They were about to face the one thing they never thought I had: the audience. The night before the shareholders' annual conference, Daniel's favorite ego fest, I uploaded a teaser to YouTube. No name, no face, just a title that said, "The Truth Behind Bright Path, Stolen Code, Fake CEO, and the Betrayal You Never Saw Coming." Within 6 hours, it had 230,000 views. People started digging. Former employees came forward. Tech forums lit up. My inbox flooded with messages. Is this real? I worked there too. I saw things. Finally, someone's exposing them. And at exactly 9 a.m. the next morning, while Daniel stood on stage in front of flashing cameras, giving his usual fake smile speech about integrity and innovation, the full video dropped, proof of code theft, audio recordings of Ava negotiating backdoor shares, screenshots of Daniel editing my name out of pitch decks, legal documents Ava filed in my name, without my consent. The crowd in that conference hall started shifting. Some walked out. Phones buzzed nonstop. And Daniel, he froze mid-sentence when someone in the front row held up their phone and said, "Is this you?" I wasn't there physically. I didn't need to be, because every screen in that room was mine now. By noon, 3 board members resigned. 2 sponsors publicly pulled out. Ava's LinkedIn disappeared. And Daniel? He issued a statement saying he was stepping down to focus on family. Lies, of course. But it didn't matter, because within 48 hours, Bright Path was legally mine, all rights transferred, all patents restored, because everything I'd built, every detail, every concept, was backed up, time-stamped, and mine on record. And as I walked into my new office, glass walls, top floor, city view, I passed the receptionist who once said I wasn't leadership material. She looked up, stunned. "Can I help you?" I smiled. "Yeah, I'm the new CEO, and you're late." I didn't just win. I took everything they tried to steal and built it bigger. They mocked my silence. They underestimated my patience. They forgot that the quiet ones usually hold the loudest victories.